let's unpack this today. We're diving into homeopathic materia medica, specifically Argentum Metallicum, silver.
Right. And we're looking mainly through the lens of William Boericke's text.
Exactly. Our goal here is really to pull out the most, important and maybe the most surprising nuggets from this specific source.
Yeah.
Think of it as just a focused look, straight from Boericke's perspective on silver.
And what's really interesting is how he frames Argentum Metallicum.
How so?
Well, he paints this picture of gradual wasting, emaciation,
Okay.
often with this strong desire for fresh air. But the main action, he emphasizes, seems to be on the articulations.
The joints.
Joints, bones, cartilage, ligaments, yeah. He notes this tendency for small blood vessels there to sort of wither away, leading to problems that are slow, they linger, but they are progressive, unfortunately.
And he singles out the larynx too, right? The voice box.
Yes, definitely highlighted as a special target area.
It's those really specific details, the peculiar ones, that always grab me in these texts.
Absolutely.
Like, beyond the physical stuff, Boericke talks about a mental state. Feeling hurried.
Hurried, yet paradoxically, time feels like it's passing slowly.
Weird. And some head symptoms that are just, unusual.
Like what?
Like a dull nerve pain, neuralgia, mainly left-sided, that just comes and goes suddenly.
Okay.
A really tender scalp. But here's a real nugget for you. Very specific vertigo.
Oh.
A dizzy spell, feeling intoxicated when looking at running water.
Wow. Okay, that is specific. Who even observes that kind of detail?
I know.
But that specificity, that's key to these older texts. You see it again in the respiratory symptoms.
Right.
Boericke mentions hoarseness, even complete voice loss, especially noted for professional singers.
Okay, yeah.
And this one, a classic peculiar symptom for Argentum Metallicum. A cough triggered by laughing.
Just by laughing.
Just by laughing. And also this feeling of a raw spot sort of near the suprasternal fossa.
That little dip above the breastbone.
Exactly, that spot.
A cough from laughing. That definitely qualifies as surprising. And it's not just the upper body, is it?
No, not at all. The source mentions distinct pains, like pain in the left lower ribs,
Okay.
and a severe backache. So bad it forces the person to walk bent over. And interestingly, he links that with chest oppression.
That connection.
Then you get these urinary symptoms, also quite distinct.
Right.
Urine that's profuse, cloudy, turbid, he calls it, and has a sweet odor.
Sweet smelling.
Yeah. Along with frequent urges to go, another one of those very specific, almost, bizarre observations.
Definitely. And connecting back to the joints you mentioned earlier.
Yes, he notes rheumatic issues, particularly affecting the elbow and the knee.
Okay.
And there's weakness, trembling in the legs, and it's noticeably worse when going downstairs.
Downstairs specifically.
He even throws in things like involuntary finger contractions, writer's cramp.
Wow. And it gets even more interconnected, right? In ways you might not expect.
Totally. He describes female uterine issues, things like bearing down pain, that heavy pelvic feeling, or prolapse, or spongy cervix. But then he specifically draws this line between uterine disease and pain in the joints and limbs.
So for you studying this, that link is a major point. Reproductive system and joints.
Precisely. It highlights this broader pattern recognition, looking for connections between what seem like totally separate body parts. That's fundamental to the approach in these texts.
It makes sense.
And the source gives us modalities too, what makes things better or worse.
Wow, the modalities. Always key.
Right, so Argentum Metallicum symptoms. Worse from touch. Worse around noon, specifically.
Nude. Interesting.
Better in the open air. And interestingly, the cough gets better at night when lying down.
Okay.
He even notes that's the opposite of another substance, hyoscyamus. So you see how these texts compare remedies based on these very specific conditions.
So tying this together for you, the listener,
Yeah.
what does it all mean? We've seen, just based on this one source, Boericke, that Argentum Metallicum has this really fascinating, incredibly specific profile from that physical wasting, peculiar discharges like, sweet-smelling urine,
Right.
to very particular triggers like laughing causing a cough or looking at running water causing vertigo, and these unexpected connections like uterus and joints.
And here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. This kind of deep dive into just one source. It shows you how incredibly detailed, how specific the observations in these historical texts actually are.
Yeah, absolutely.
They highlight symptoms you might never ever expect to associate with silver. It really makes you ponder the connections being drawn, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, what observations or theories could possibly link a cough from laughing to joint problems or urinary issues with the sweet smell?
Right. What's the underlying thread there?
Exactly.
Right.
It's a truly unique picture presented in this text. Definitely gives you plenty to think about and maybe explore further.
什么感觉？